don't know if you heard those bones popping, but that was my neck. That was popping. Anyways, hello everyone, my name is Jaybird, and welcome back to Lucid9. Before we get started, I would like to give a very special shout out to my friend, Zach. It's his 19th birthday today, so happy birthday, Zach. I hope you're watching this video, because this would be really fucking awkward. If you're not, if you never do, I'm sorry, audience. But anyways, the happy birthday wishes out of the way. Let's get right back to where we left off last time. I exit Mr. Ryota's office in a considerably better mood than when I entered it. I actually don't feel tired. I feel rejuvenated. Seems like those memories have been weighing on me for a long time. Maybe therapy really will be beneficial. Deciding to take his prescription to heart, I head straight to the downtown shopping area. With my mind cleared, I get to pay a little more attention to the weather. Beautiful cloudless skies. There are clouds everywhere. The slightest hint of a cool breeze. You! A girl careens from around the corner and nearly crashes right into me. Her glasses flash dangerously as she tips her newsboy cap over her forehead, swaying me with an intensity that could rival an electronic microscope. Me? It's all I can manage to say at the eccentric sight.
Yes, you. An idyllic, unlettered civilian. Perfect.
With a hint of a satisfied smile tugs at her lips. For what must be the 100th time today, I feel a keen sense of impending doom.
Respond to my questions with either yes or no. Do not deviate, do not invent, and for the sake of both of our sanities, do not dawdle. First, am I correct in assuming that you are an academy student?
You must have the wrong person. I've never seen you before.
How can you judge the purpose behind this encounter without knowing the criteria I have set in my approach? I am not mistaken. You are my target.
It doesn't take a genius to sense that this girl means trouble. I decide to conveniently ignore her and step around her. She only steps with me, blocking my path. Again. Oh, great. I can sense where this is going.
As I envisaged,
I think it's envisaged. Or envisaged. Yeah, there we go. Envisaged. I think that's the word.
Subject demonstrates a remarkable inability to utilize basic cognitive functions.
Talk about uncalled for. Abusive words, overly complicated language. She clearly has a few screws loose. Maybe I should call the hospital, see if they have a runaway mental patient. But she's not wearing hospital clothes. Look, kid, I don't know what your problem is, but... Oops! Did not mean to do that. Sorry about that. Kid. The pleasantly cool air suddenly develops a rather harsh chill. She must be in one of those phases.
It's not a phase, Mom!
Just another 14-year-old girl expecting to be treated with the dignity of a grandmother. Albeit a 14-year-old who apparently memorized the dictionary. Well, whatever you are, generally speaking, it's pretty rude to just run up to some random stranger and insult them.
Truly, Truly, your idiocy has risen to a level beyond which I had previously surmised.
She immediately digs into her pocket and flashes something in front of my face.
Shigure Enomoto, freelance detective. Legally certified to inspect crime scenes, obtain private files, and if necessary, interrogate unduly inquisitive citizens with the observational finesse of a blind bat. And you shall note that I am 26 years of age.
Wait. What? You're 26?
Unless you presume to imply that you are deaf as well as dumb, I suggest.
But you're so short! I practically feel ice crystals forming in the air.
Well, I should strongly prefer to be short of stature than short of cerebral matter, as seems to be your tendency.
Ouch. Not a bad blow. But wait. If you're a freelance detective, does that mean that this is an interrogation and I'm a suspect? If I have to go to the police station, do I get excused absences from class?
I see no need to reverse your expectation that you will be taking the unexcused absences as they are. Consider it an inevitability similar to your clinical depression.
That stops me. What? How could she possibly... What would even make her think something like that?
You might as well carry a sign. From your uniform, you are a student at the academy. From the fact that you are wearing it, you attended school this morning. From your presence in town rather than in class, you are, as I believe they call it, playing hooky. From that prescription slip, you are enrolled in the recently developed therapy method that the academy has been boasting. From your fairly normal physicality and social skills, your problem is most likely clinical depression or something like high-functioning autism.
Okay, I get it. You're a detective.
And you are impressed, but pretending not to be.
It is pretty impressive. The observations themselves might seem like common sense, but a person who can actually synthesize them is a rare find. Which, of course, kind of just makes her even more annoying. I relax a little, oddly relieved that she hadn't actually secretly researched me.
Now it is your turn.
My turn?
Of course. What can you see from my physical presentation? I invite you to give your brain some much-needed exercise.
That gets close to firing me up. Close. Sorry, but I have my therapist's instructions to follow. Unless you have any actual business with me, I'd appreciate it if you left me alone. I step around her again. This time, she doesn't move. But just as I think that I'm home free, I hear a soft whisper drifting from behind me.
Do you not wish to play a bigger role in society than an inconsequential pawn in this game of life? Or will you restrict yourself to the confines of your own abilities just because of her?
I quietly stop. Turn around slowly. Tell me how you know that. Right now.
I shall after you prove yourself mentally capable of comprehending the simplest of my explanations.
Fine. She wants to play it that way. Let her play that way. Let her play it that way. Whoa! I like this background, really pretty. Woo! Very nice. Very nice. Time to focus. I'll start with... Shit, I should have saved, but let's go with her clothes first. Unlike the standard professional wear I might expect of a law enforcement agent, she's dressed comfortably. Probably can do that because she's a freelance detective. They also haven't been ironed in a while, which means either she doesn't care or she's a workaholic. possibly a combination of both. Her shirt proclaims king, conscious or unconscious association to her egotism. I can't tell much, but I find it strange that she dressed so casually and expect people to take her seriously. With her height and her clothes, is it any wonder that she's often mistaken for a kid? And one more thing bothers me. She wears comfortable-looking clothes, which I previously assumed were for efficiency. After all, chasing down criminals in high heels is a stupid idea. And yet, something stands out. I'm gonna say the hat and jeans. Right. Hats are a pain to run with, because unless you keep one hand on them at all times, they're likely to flop around, fall off, or just generally be obnoxious. And the jeans are too tight to opt for flexibility. Running in those would either be very uncomfortable or very, very embarrassing. Which implies that she just dresses how she wants to. Definitely a very headstrong individual. If she doesn't choose casual clothes for comfort, knowing that it can interfere with her job, then is she purposely choosing it to aggravate others, to announce her individualism? It wouldn't match with her choosing to be a freelance detective instead of a corporate investigator. Free-spirited, rebellious, and as I suspect from how she's shamelessly pulling me aside for no reason, guided more by her heart than her head despite her intellect. Not bad. Next I should think about her body language. She spreads her weight evenly on both feet, unlike most girls, who let it lie more on one side of their hip than the other. Even weight on both feet almost sounds like a... I'm gonna say fighting stance. She seems relaxed, but with that bright-eyed look of someone expecting danger from around every corner. That kind of weight distribution doesn't seem to come naturally. Maybe she was in sports, or maybe in self-defense at one point, for a while from the looks of it. I'd like to guess martial arts, but I can't say for sure. There are too many possibilities. Okay then, maybe I should think about this a different way. Her movements are very crisp and close to the body. When she's speaking, she doesn't gesture very much, even when yelling. Generally speaking, sports emphasize emoting on a huge scale, roaring in victory, bawling in defeat, the works. Not only that, but limbs are trained more for gross motor skills than fine motor skills. On the contrary, Shigure has very tight control of her hands, almost to the point where she seems stiff. Which likely points to something high control like ballet or archery, or a more subtle martial art like Wing Chun. Well, that still didn't narrow things down too much. Time to move on. I've noticed that when Shigure moves, she primarily tends to use her... Okay, so this is her right hand. This is her left hand. I'm gonna say her right hand because that's the hand that's resting on her hip. Her left hand is generally stagnant while her right often takes the most action, adjusting her glasses or tapping against her hip. Probably safe to assume that she's right-handed. So she used to be involved in a high-control form of physical exercise and she's right-handed. Is that all I can get from her body language? Well, she doesn't wear any noticeable makeup, she dresses like a kid, and she wears glasses instead of contacts, just calling more attention to her pathetic stature. Wait a minute. When I put it that way, it almost sounds like she has a mental disability, wants to be under a... I don't want to say mental disability because that's completely wrong. Wants to be underestimated. Even though she pretends to be indignant about being mistaken for a kid, it looks like that's her intent. Even though she's a freelance detective, she doesn't wear her badge everywhere or carry a gun or anything really. She probably believes that being underestimated is a valuable skill. I can't say I personally agree, but hey, she's the 26-year-old freelance detective, not me. The circumstances. Why here? Why now? Why me? These are all questions I need to address. A detective has approached me and bombarded me with questions, but I see no other policemen. Is she doing this just because she's bored? No, she was specifically looking for an academy student for some reason. I'm coming up short in this area. I'll have to think about this later. I step back to look at the full picture. No, this isn't it. Not quite. It's good information, but it's basic. Nothing stands out. I can't actually use any of this. Time to think a little deeper. Is there anything that can help me? Anything at all? Something I've missed? Oh.
Inamoto speaking. Yes. If you cannot resolve such an impelling simple task by your own means, I shall consider your intellect to no different than that of a headless chicken's. Good day. Now, you may want to hasten your efforts before the ground upon which we stand becomes our gravestones.
Yeah, I'm on it. I say this distractedly primarily because I noticed she has a flip phone. Ancient technology by today's standards. Buttons, 2-inch screen, primitive camera, the works. Not just that, but it's a terrible looking flip phone. The kind of decor that you'd see on prepubescent phones. Rhinestones, heart stickers, even a random scrawl from a Sharpie that was too faded into the metal for me to read. It's completely unlike her. Which means that it's a wealth of information. While on call, she so graciously turned the phone in my direction, allowing me to catch a glance of the wallpaper. Shock! It was a picture, at least a few years old, of a guy hugging her. Double shock. She was proudly showing off a ring. Not a cheap cutesy colored ring, but the couple bands of a new relationship in its second week. A legitimate diamond ring. An engagement ring. But she's not wearing the ring anymore. Even looking at her hands at this moment, I can't even tell that she'd ever worn one. Which means that she once had a fiancé and he broke up with her. And he did it. I kind of want to say a long time ago, because she seems a little bit over it. I'm going to say that. Ah, of course. The engagement had already had ended recently. I'd see a tan around her finger. Or maybe an indent. Said there's nothing. Which means that the fiancé called off the engagement a while ago. She obviously didn't call it off. Not if she's keeping that picture on her phone. In fact, maybe they broke it off amicably if she hasn't deleted it yet, or either that or she is a stalker. Alright, that's much more like it. I think I'm ready. I square my shoulders and look her in the eye. Sorry about the wedding. Hello? What wedding? Is she serious?
What wedding?
Is she serious? How can I possibly word this delicately? Yours. The one that your fiancé called off a few years ago.
Did he?
Didn't he? Unless she does have a wedding ring and she just doesn't wear it. Is it in your pocket or something?
You might seek to articulate yourself better. Is what in my pocket?
Your wedding ring!
Why would I have a wedding ring in my pocket?
If your fiancé didn't call off the wedding, then... Wait. No. There's one more possibility. And since she's in law enforcement, it wouldn't be unlikely. I immediately shut up as the realization dawns on me.
I see I've realized. Yes, he never called off the wedding.
Because he died. I suddenly feel very, very callous. I'm
Silence. Say nothing that you do not mean. Unless you are manipulating others to extract information, as that is an occupational hazard.
Right. Even as she continues on, I mentally hit myself for my error. I like how we went over all that, like, shit, and then we just talk about the wedding ring. Like, that's all that hard work for nothing.
I shall admit, Sylvillian, that you have done adequately. Train your senses consistently, and you might become moderately useful in the future.
Thanks, really. I'm overwhelmed.
But I ask of you this. What is the meaning when a freelance detective approaches a student and asks a string of seemingly unrelated questions of him?
She has a crush on him. She is testing him. She suspects him of a crime. She suspects him of a crime? Clearly, you think I'm up to no good.
To think I expected better of you. Even if, hypothetically, I were to suspect you, what sense would there be in revealing my identity as a detective?
That's actually a good point. Then, is there another reason? You're testing my intelligence for some reason. Or you're actually a marketing intern trying to conduct some bizarre survey. I wouldn't know. Shigure fixes me with an unfathomable stare. The only sign of emotion on her face are her eyebrows, which are almost raised to her hairline.
What is your name?
Sorry?
Your name.
This has nothing to do with the case, but if I protest, she'll probably smack me with her more verbal abuse. Yama Ishimoto. What is she thinking of? Her derision is preferable to her silence.
I postulate that you possess anonymity of free time.
What is your
assessment regarding a coadjutant mater?
I don't know how to say these words. Coadjutor. Who even uses those kinds of words? Apparently Shigure does. Are you asking me to be your assistant?
Servant, not assistant.
Putting me and job in the same sentence is never a good idea. I barely have enough diligence to hand out stuff in class when I'm called by the teacher. How much worse would my punishment be if I worked with a woman this crazy? Not detention, I'd assume. And yet, examining pieces of a puzzle, putting them together, framing the whole story. It was fun. Logic, ingenuity, resourcefulness, and almost nothing is fun to me, which makes it doubly interesting. Sure, why not?
Good. I will require your contact information, then be off.
I take a moment to process this. That's it? Wait. How did you know?
Know what?
You told me earlier. About her. A tense moment ticks as Shigure stares evenly at me.
Pure conjecture.
You can't be serious.
You did not appear to notice that my wording was intentionally vague.
What? But you said...
Do you not wish to play a bigger role in society than an inconsequential pawn in this game of life? Or will you restrict yourself to the confines of your own abilities just because of her?
Oh. Classic bait for confirmation bias. Appeal to a person's general desire for significance, allude to just one person for some added resonance. All she would have to do All she would have to guess is the gender. 50% chance of striking a chord in her victim. She probably guessed a girl for my personality. I'm not exactly the type to easily befriend guys. A bait. Just a bait.
I see you understand.
She pushes the phone into my motionless hand.
I have registered my cellular number. Tomorrow, you will receive a text regarding your next assignment. Keep your evenings free.
With that, she simply tips her hat, whirls around, and starts off. A bait? Well, guys, that's a pretty long episode. If you like this episode of Lucid9, leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell. And remember, we did all that hard work for nothing. And also remember, die safely. Bye-bye.